Welcome everyone. So today's topic is infanticide. है। So I think one class has already been done हैन यसको एउटा क्लास पहिला भइसक्यो होला. So I think by now everyone knows what infanticide is हैन. Infanticide भनेको सबैलाई थाहा होला है. So by its word definition infanticide means deliberate killing of an infant. So infant भनेको less than 1 years को baby child like हैन. So if it is deliberate killing of an infant less than 1 years of age. So different jurisdiction अनुसार चाहिँ इन्फेन्टिसाइडको चाहिँ ल फरक फरक हुन्छ है. Different jurisdiction भनेको in developed countries if the infanticide is committed by mother हैन आमाले कमिट गरेको छ इन्फेन्टलाई आफ्नो बच्चालाई चाहिँ मारेको छ भने चाहिँ the punishment for such mother is less in comparison to homicide. यो किन भन्दाखेरि because of the stress of the pregnancy or because of the stress of the lactation हैन. So during pregnancy and during lactation the mother is under physical or emotional stress because of hormonal or physiological changes that goes on in the body है. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ the mother may land up into postpartum psychosis, postpartum blues हैन, postpartum depression हरूले गर्दाखेरि the mother can commit such crime. The mother can harm her own child, her own baby or even herself. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ so त्यो एउटा साइकोटिक स्टेटमा गरेको भएर चाहिँ मदरलाई चाहिँ the punishment should be less भनेर in developed countries it is a separate entity. Okay? Whereas in our country there is no separate law as infanticide. Okay? And you less punishment only if it is committed by mother and not by other people. So अरूले गरेको कमिट गरेको छ भने punishment will be same as homicide. So in today's class we'll learn about autopsy हैन कसरी autopsy गर्ने भनेर. चेन्ज भएन त स्लाइड भइरहेछ. So we'll learn about autopsy of an infant हैन or fetal autopsy. We'll also learn about proof of separate existence and we'll learn about estimation of maturity. Okay. Autopsy in an infanticide is similar to autopsy in an adult. So those who have already posted and already completed their posting in IM, so they must have examined or they must have seen cases of adult autopsy. For a newborn or fetal autopsy, there are some additional things that we have to look at, and like we have to examine the newborn, and along with that, we also have to examine placenta and cord. Sometimes there may be cause of death in placenta. Sometimes there may be placental infarct. Sometimes the placenta may be incomplete. The placenta may have some hematoma, which may be the cause of abortion or which may be the cause of preterm delivery. Similarly, cord पनि examine गर्नुपर्छ. The length of cord. And autopsy in these newborns are performed in suspicious death to first determine period of viability. Okay? So there are 5 different things that we need to look at when doing an autopsy in newborn. So first is determining the period of viability. Second is if the newborn is viable, we need to determine whether the newborn was stillborn, liveborn or deadborn. Third is to determine the cause of death if the newborn was a liveborn. Fourth is if liveborn, we may need to estimate the period of survival. And finally, we may need to collect samples, especially for DNA identification of mother. Okay? So what is period of viability? So as the first class भयो होला सायद. So period of viability is the ability of the newborn for separate existence. भनेको to continue the life separately and after being delivered from the mother. त्यसलाई चाहिँ period of viability भन्छ. An independent existence of the newborn. Okay? So the period of viability is usually considered as 7 months. So 7 महिना पछि चाहिँ or 28 weeks in our context. है हाम्रो कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ 28 हप्ता पछि चाहिँ after 28 weeks the fetus is considered viable. हैन भनेको the fetus can survive on its own भन्छ. But it depends upon the advancement in the country. हैन अब developed country को छ भने they consider 22 weeks as period of viability. है so period of viability ले चाहिँ के गर्छ भन्दाखेरि if the period of viability is less than 28 weeks it is considered as abortion. So 28 weeks भन्दा अगाडि डेलिभरी भएको छ भने delivered भएको छ भने that is considered as abortion. हैन त्यो चाहिँ abortion को law तिर जान्छ भने 28 weeks if the gestational age is more than 28 weeks the fetus is considered viable and it will be a case of infanticide and depending upon the cause of death. So 28 weeks cross भएको छ भने चाहिँ अब the baby can survive on its own हैन so अब cause of death कुनै trauma हरु आको छ भने it can be infanticide भनेर consider गर्छ है so period of viability लाई चाहिँ maturity पनि भन्छ. So second is if the newborn is viable हैन भनेको if the newborn is more than 28 weeks we need to look at whether the infant is or whether the newborn is stillborn, liveborn or deadborn. है यसको डिफरेन्स थाहा छ. So stillborn is a baby if it is alive in the uterus. Uterus भित्र चाहिँ जिउँदैछ but after completely being delivered the fetus does not show any sign of life or the fetus does not breathe. त्यसलाई चाहिँ stillborn भन्छ. युट्रसमा चाहिँ it is live but after being delivered the fetus is dead. त्यसलाई चाहिँ stillborn भन्छ. Deadborn भने the fetus is dead inside the uterus. So uterus भित्र नै the fetus was dead and it will be delivered dead. हैन liveborn भनेको the fetus will be delivered and after being delivered the fetus will show signs of life. हैन भनेको delivery पछि चाहिँ the fetus will respire. Okay, so this is the difference between stillborn, deadborn and liveborn. So it's not कहिले viva मा सोध्न सक्छ. Okay, so after delivery if the baby is stillborn or deadborn त्यसमा चाहिँ अब infanticide को कुरै आएन because the infant was already dead when being delivered हैन. But if the infant was or if the newborn was liveborn then we may need to now find the cause of death. So के कारणले मर्यो त भनेर. So if the cause of death is any natural disease, कुनै congenital anomaly छ or कुनै disease process ले गर्दाखेरि death भएको छ भने again it's a natural process so त्यसमा further investigation हुँदैन हैन. There won't be any further investigation if the cause of death is natural. But if the cause of death is unnatural हैन then it can be homicide हैन and those can be act of commission or act of omission. Okay. So we also यहाँसम्म भएन we हामीले cause of death पनि भन्यौं then we have to estimate the period of survival. So if the baby was liveborn how long did the baby survive. Okay. And lastly we will help in identifying the mother if the mother is unknown. Okay. And for this we will usually collect DNA samples and samples for DNA analysis. Okay. So DNA को लागि के sample collect गर्ने भन्दा usually what we collect is bone and femur bone collect गर्छौं but blood can also be collected. Blood can be collected in EDTA vial. Okay. If the body is not decomposed भएको छैन भने we can collect blood. But usually fetal autopsy गर्दाखेरि the fetus is brought in a state of decomposition. So त्यस्तो कन्डिसनमा we cannot collect blood for DNA analysis. Okay. So examination of newborn. So like other adult autopsy, we will begin with external examination where we will describe the body. So we'll describe the body or sometimes body part. We may only get a part of body. We'll describe whether it is male or female. We'll note for any congenital anomalies because sometimes external signs of congenital anomaly may be associated with other congenital anomaly in the internal organ. Okay? Like imperforated anus can be associated with tracheoesophageal fistula. So tracheoesophageal fistula is a fatal condition, can be a fatal condition. And after describing the body, we will do anthropometric measurements. So these are measurements of various body parts. Okay? And we'll first measure the length. And in newborn, we can take crown heel length. Okay? Crown heel length whenever from heel to vertex, or from top of the head to heel, we'll measure the length. And there are two rules, okay? Hash's rule and Morrison's rule. Okay? So what this rule says is, if the length of the body, if the length of the fetus we measure is less than 25 centimeter, we will square root it, and it will give gestational age in months. Okay? For example, if the length of the fetus is around 16 centimeter, which is less than 25 centimeter, so we'll apply Hash's rule. So we'll square root 16. So it is 4. So the gestational age is 4 months old. Okay. Similarly, there is Morrison's rule, which says that if the length is more than 25 centimeter, we divide by 5. Okay. If the suppose if we measure the length of the fetus and it is more than 25 centimeter, let's say 40 centimeter. Okay. 40 centimeter, we divide it by 5, which gives 8. So 8 months हुन्छ. बुझ्यो Hash's rule र Morrison's rule. भाइभामा सोध्न सक्छ or MCQ मा सोध्न सक्छ. So usually preterm baby को length is, crown heel length is 45 to 50 centimeter. 9 months term baby. It can be preterm if it is less than 40 centimeter. 35 centimeter भन्दा कम छ भने, it is less than 7 centimeter भयो, that is non-viable. Similarly, in forensic, we may not get intact body. कुनै बेला के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि there may lower limbs may be missing. So in that case, we cannot take crown heel length. So in that case, in those cases, we will take crown rump length. So crown rump length भनेको, it is the length from crown भनेको vertex or top of the head to end of buttock. So buttock को tip देखि crown top of the head सम्म measure गर्छौं. And we will add 6.5. So जति आउँछ in centimeter. So 6.5 add गर्यो भने it will give gestational age in weeks. Okay. So suppose if the length, crown rump length is 30 centimeter, we'll add 6.5 to it. So 30 plus 6.5 is 36.5. So the gestational age is 36.5 weeks, right, which is around term. Okay. So term fetus or term baby ko crown rump length is should be more than 30 centimeter. Okay. So this is length. So we'll also measure body weight. Okay. So a term baby will weigh around 2.5 kg. Usually more than 2.5 kilogram. Okay. But a preterm baby will weigh around less than 2.5 kilogram kg. But we should also consider IUGR and LBW. Intrauterine growth retardation, the low birth weight baby can be there, who may be term, but still they have body weight less than 2.5 kilogram. Similarly, we'll also measure head circumference. So head circumference measure गर्दाखेरि, the term baby will have head circumference of more than 33 centimeter. 33 to 35. If the head circumference measure 33 to 35 centimeter, it's a term baby. And so head circumference measure गर्दाखेरि, from external occipital protuberance to your forehead को चाहिँ ठ्याक्क आँखाको above the orbit त्यहाँ माप्ने. So it is more than 33 centimeter in term. Similarly, chest circumference, if you measure chest circumference, it should be 3 centimeter less than head circumference in term. Term baby. So these are anthropometric measurements. So while doing these anthropometric measurements, so हामीले चाहिँ consider गर्नुपर्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ IUGR and low birth weight baby. right? These baby may be term but have values less than term, हैन? यो वेटहरु चाहिँ अथवा लेन्थहरु चाहिँ टर्मको भन्दा कम हुन सक्छ. So next what we will examine is we will examine Vernix caseosa. So Vernix caseosa is whitish greasy material, okay, on the skin surface of the newborn. So what Vernix caseosa tells us is it tells us if it is present in the newborn, and it indicates that the newborn was unattended. भनेको न्यूबर्न चाहिँ जन्मिएपछि यतिकै फालेको भन्ने बुझिन्छ, हैन? कसैले नुहाइदिने अथवा चाहिँ पुछ्दिने केही पनि नगरिकन the newborn was discarded, हैन? But if it is absent, it indicates that the newborn was washed or cleaned after delivery. Okay. Similarly, lanugo hair. So lanugo hair is these are hair present on the body of the newborn. And scalp hair back or hair, like lanugo hair. Okay. So lanugo hair appears after 4 or 5 months, intrauterine. So 4 or 5 months ko intrauterine life my lanugo hair starts appearing, and it is maximum. It is dense at around 7 months. Okay. 7 to 8 months my dense huncha, and after 8 months it begins to shed. So what lanugo hair tells us is if it is dense, if it is dense, then it is around 7 months भन्ने बुझिन्छ. Okay. Dense and it is all over the body. Okay. But if it is sparse, एकदमै sparse, and even if it is present, it may also be present in term, but it is sparse, एकदमै कम हुन्छ, and it is present over the scapular region and in the deltoid region. So term मा पनि हुन सक्छ lanugo hair, but it is more over the deltoid and scapular region, whereas in preterm it is more dense. Okay. So we'll also examine head, head for head hair. So term baby ko head hair is it is more dense, black and straight, whereas preterm ko चाहिँ it is woolly, wool type ko. It is not silky, preterm ko head hair is not silky. So we'll also note for molding of the head, caput succedaneum. So molding and caput succedaneum, they indicate prolonged labor or obstructed labor, right? There may also be presence of cephalhematoma. Okay? So what cephalhematoma indicates is it also indicates prolonged or obstructed labor, but cephalhematoma usually appears after 12 hours of being delivered. And delivery भएको 12 hours पछि बल्ल cephalhematoma appear हुन्छ, blood collect हुन time लाग्छ. So what happens is, what it tells is, it also tells the period of survival. If there is cephalhematoma in the scalp, it indicates that the baby has survived around 12 hours. Okay. Similarly, fontanelles. So infant there will be fontanelles. So if fontanelles they begin to close after 6 months, period of survival indicate गर्छ. Then we'll look at ear. So head to toe examine गर्दा we'll examine head hair, and then we'll examine ear. So there will be something called ear recoil. So what happens is in normal preterm baby, if we manipulate the ear like the cartilaginous part of ear, if we bring it anteriorly and if we leave it, it will recoil back to its normal position, because of the cartilage. But in preterm, the cartilage is not well developed, so there won't be proper ear recoil. Okay. Then we'll look at fingernails. Fingernails term fingernail will extend just above the tip of the finger, whereas in preterm it is at the level of fingertip. Okay. Similarly, palmar and sole crease, the crease in your palms and sole. So it will be deep and prominent in terms and faint in preterm. Then we'll look at the chest. So chest for gestational age, what we can look for is nipple size, the size of the nipple. Okay. In term, the nipple is more than 5 millimeter, whereas in preterm it is less than 5 millimeter. Right? This is for gestational age. Right? And to look at if the baby was live born or stillborn, we can look at the shape of the chest. Right? So expanded, the chest will be expanded if the baby has respired or live born, right? Where AP diameter will be almost equal to transverse diameter. Okay? But if the baby has not respired, that means baby is a stillborn or deadborn. त्यस्तो केसमा चाहिँ the chest will be flat, where AP diameter will be less than transverse diameter. Okay? Similarly, if you look at the abdomen, the umbilicus will be midway between xiphisternum and symphysis brevis in tom. The umbilical cord, there will be some signs in the umbilicus. So if the baby has survived around 36 to 48 hours, there will be an inflammatory ring around the umbilicus. Okay? Similarly, after 2 or 3 days, the umbilicus will begin to dry out and mummify. And in a week, 5 to 6 days, the umbilical cord will fall off. And in 10 to 12 days, that means by around 2 weeks, there will be scar formation, umbilical scar. Okay? And if we look at the umbilical cord, we'll have to note whether the umbilical cord is clamped or not, or there is tie or not. And we'll have to also look at the cut end of the umbilical cord, whether it is ragged or clean cut. And clean cut भनेको चाहिँ some sharp instrument ले काटेको भन्ने बुझिन्छ. Ragged margin भनेको it was torn off, च्यातेर फालेको भन्ने बुझिन्छ. Then we'll look at genitals. So in male, both the testes will be in the scrotal sac at tom. So we'll palpate for testis. So testis दुईटा scrotum छ भने it is tom baby. छैन भने that's a preterm baby. Similarly, in female, labia majora will cover labia minora at tom. So after examining all these things, for gestational age and signs of respiration or signs of life, we'll examine injuries. There may be injuries in the body. Some puncture marks may be there, and we'll look at post-mortem changes. Okay? And then we'll do internal examination. Okay? So external examination is more for done usually for gestational age, whereas internal examination will tell you a lot of things about signs of life. Live birth or dead born ho भनेर internal examination it will reveal. Okay? So we'll do eye incision, and but after removing the sternal plate, we'll look at the position of the diaphragm. Okay? So after respiration, the volume of lungs will increase, so the diaphragm will be pushed. So it will be at the level of 6th or 7th rib, whereas an unrespired lung, it will be at the level of 4th or 5th rib. Okay. Similarly, the volume of lungs will increase, so respired lungs will enlarge and it will fill the pleural cavity, and its medial end will overlap. And will cover the mediastinum. Okay. Whereas unrespired lungs are small, collapsed. Okay. The margins of respired lungs are blunted or rounded, whereas unrespired lungs, the margins will be sharp. Okay. Similarly, if you look at the consistency of lungs, unrespired lungs will be firm, dense in consistency, and it will be liver-like, and it will have consistency similar to liver. Whereas respired lungs will have spongy consistency, and it will feel spongy, and it will have crepitant feel on palpation, okay, because of air. And the color, so respired lung will appear light pink and mottled, whereas unrespired lungs will appear dark reddish or bluish. Okay. So weight of the lung, so we usually do not take weight of the lung because it is very small, but these can be asked in your exam, MCQ अथवा चाहिँ उमा सोध्न सक्छ. Okay. So there are two tests, a static test or Fodier's test भन्छ, अर्को चाहिँ Plockett's test. So both are for weight of the lungs. So according to static test, what it states is if we measure the weight of the lung both combined and दुईटै lungs को एकैचोटी weight लियौं भने if the lungs are unrespired lungs, it will weigh around 30 to 40 grams. But if we take the lung weight of the respired lung, it will be around 60 to 66 grams, almost double. So the lung weight will double after respiration begins. So this is because after respiration begins, there will be initiation of pulmonary circulation. So pulmonary circulation initiate by blood will flow to the lungs. Pulmonary artery blood flow will be there in the lungs. So this will increase the lungs weight, weight of the lung. So this is static test. So in Ploquet test, what we do is we take the lungs weight of the lungs and weight of the body. And if the lungs are unrespired lungs, the ratio it will be 1:7, or the lung weight will be 1/70 of body weight. But if the lungs are respired, respired lung ho bhane chai the ratio will be 1:35. The ratio of lungs and body weight will be 1:35. So almost double huncha. So this is because of pulmonary circulation, blood flow to the lungs. So there is another test called hydrostatic test or Regard's test. So we usually perform this test. So most will consider this as a very unreliable test, because decomposition can give false positive test. And त्यसैले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ धेरैले राम्रो टेस्ट होइन भन्छ. But if the body is fresh, undecomposed, decomposed भएको छैन भने this test can be performed. So hydrostatic test में के गर्छ भन्दाखेरि we will take lungs and we will put it on water, and we'll see if the lungs will float or sink. So if the lungs are respired, there will be air in the lungs. Alveoli में air हुन्छ. So the specific gravity of the lungs will be less than the water, so it will float. Whereas unrespired lungs, there won't be any air in the lungs, and the lungs will sink in the water. So it is based on the principle that volume of lungs will increase during respiration, and this increase in volume is more than the increase in weight of additional blood during respiration. So the specific gravity of respired lung will be less than the specific gravity of the unrespired lung. So in this test, what we do is we'll first ligate the bronchi of both lungs separately, and we'll put it in water individually. And we'll observe if the lungs will. Okay, in hydrostatic test, what we'll do is we'll so it is a test to see whether the lungs have respired or not. So it is a very primitive test and very simple test. So some consider this test as obsolete. यो खासै use गर्नु हुँदैन भन्छ. But if there is no decomposition in the body, this test can be used. So in this test, we'll take the lungs and we'll ligate the bronchi, and we'll put it in water and to see whether if it sinks or it floats. This is the first step. First step, intact lungs से हाल्ने. Then in second step, we'll cut the lobes, lungs को चाहिँ lobes हरु छुट्याएर we'll put it in water, and again we'll observe if the lungs float or sinks. And finally, what we'll do is we will cut the lobes into smaller pieces again, 5 to 6 smaller pieces, and again we'll put it in water, and we'll see if the lungs floats or sinks. And if all these 3 steps, if the lungs float भइरहेछ भने we'll now squeeze the lungs, wrap the lungs in piece of cloth, and we'll squeeze it to remove air, if the air is due to decomposition ले गर्दाखेरि भएको air हो कि भनेर we'll squeeze the air out, and we'll again put it in water. यो सबै गर्दा if in all these steps the lungs float, it indicates that the lungs have respired. And if any of one of these process, if the lungs sink, and it indicates that the lungs have not respired. Sink भयो भने चाहिँ the lungs have not respired, or in all these steps, squeeze गरेर हाल्दाखेरि पनि if the lungs float, then it indicates that the lungs have respired. The lungs, the ear चाहिँ alveoli मा भएको ear हो भनेर बुझिन्छ. But there are some fallacies, some fallacies of this test. Fallacy भनेको there are the expanded lungs may sink, भनेको respired air lungs may sink in diseases like pulmonary edema. So pulmonary edema मा चाहिँ the alveolar air will be replaced by fluid. Pneumonia, pneumonia मा पनि the alveolar space will be occupied by some exudative materials. And in congenital syphilis, in this condition, the lungs may sink even if the lungs have respired. Similarly, in atelectasis, collapse, lung collapse, alveolar collapse भएको छ भने पनि in this condition also the lungs may sink. And expanded lungs or unexpired lungs may float in conditions like putrefaction. So because of decomposition, there will be decomposition gases which may fill up the lung spaces, and this can cause flotation or false positive hydrostatic test. Also in artificial respiration, like if the baby was resuscitated, CPR गरेको छ, ventilation गरेको छ भने, in those conditions also artificially there will be air in the alveoli, and this can also cause flotation of unrespired lungs. So if we consider these things, decomposition rule out garam, disease process rule out garam भने, this test can be used reliably, and we still use this test. And this hydrostatic test is not necessary. Hydrostatic test is done to see whether the lungs have respired or not. भनेको बच्चा चाहिँ जिउँदो जन्मेको हो कि मरेको जन्मेको भनेर छुट्याउनलाई. But if the fetus is monster, भनेको monster baby भनेको anencephaly, microcephaly हरू भएको babyहरुले चाहिँ those baby who have congenital anomalies. So in these babies, hydrostatic test is not necessary. Similarly, in mummified or macerated baby, भनेको intrauterine death भएको छ baby को, भनेको dead born baby हरुमा चाहिँ there may be signs of maceration, signs of mummification. So this is a sign of dead born. So dead born मा पनि you don't need to do hydrostatic test because you know it's a dead born, and similarly, fetus whose gestational age is less than 180 days. So 180 days भने 7 months भन्दा कमको छ भने पनि you usually do not have to do hydrostatic test, they will be non-viable. Similarly, if there is milk in the stomach, so stomach मा milk छ भने चाहिँ it indicates that the baby was breastfed, baby ले milk खाएको छ भने the baby was alive at the time of birth भन्ने कुरा बुझिन्छ, you don't need to do hydrostatic test. Lastly, the umbilical cord has separated and there is a umbilical scar. So umbilical cord is separate भएको छ, there is no umbilical cord or there is only umbilical scar छ भने it indicates that the baby was alive for at least a week. So in this case also you don't need to do hydrostatic test. So these may be asked in your Viva मा सोध्नु सक्छ hydrostatic test कुन condition मा you don't need to do भनेर. Okay. So त्यसपछि there are some other things that we can look at, so we have looked at lungs, so we can also look at in stomach and intestine, so presence of milk, it indicates live born, and again meconium, so meconium will be in small intestine, and if the meconium is in the small intestine, it indicates that the baby is preterm. Small intestine मा छ भने preterm भन्ने बुझिन्छ भने, large intestine मा छ भने large intestine को पनि distal end तिर छ भने term baby भन्ने बुझिन्छ. So also because depending on meconium we can estimate the gestational age. And if there is no meconium in the body, in the intestine, large intestine मा पनि छैन, small intestine मा पनि छैन भने it indicates that the baby had survived at least for 24 hours because 24 घण्टापछि meconium pass गर्छ baby ले, and there is another test called Breslau's second life test or stomach bowel test. So यो टेस्टमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि we will now hydrostatic test lung मा गरे जस्तो we will perform the same test in stomach. So we'll remove stomach with intestine and we'll put it in water, and after tying ligature. So stomach ko upper end or intestine ko lower end, we'll tie a ligature and we'll put it in water, and we'll look if whether it floats or not. So what happens is during respiration, the baby will also swallow air, or during feeding, the baby will also swallow air. So because of that air, the intestine and stomach may float in the water. So float भयो भने चाहिँ it indicates respiration, float भएन sink भयो भने it indicates no respiration. But again you have to rule out decomposition. So but we don't do this test very much. हामीले यो भन्दा चाहिँ hydrostatic test नै गर्छौं, because this is less reliable than hydrostatic test. Another thing that we can look at is changes in the middle ear. So before respiration, the middle ear is filled with gelatinous connective tissue in fetus. But after respiration begins, respiration commences, the eustachian tube will open. So air will enter the middle ear. So there will be resorption of this gelatinous connective tissue. So if we examine the middle ear and if we find some connective tissue in the middle ear, it indicates that the baby has not respired. Gelatinous connective tissue छैन भने चाहिँ it indicates that eustachian tube has opened and air has entered the middle ear. So respiration has occurred भन्ने बुझिन्छ. So this test is also not done because it is very difficult to expose middle ear. So infant ko ma चाहिँ it is difficult to expose the middle ear. So we have to cut the bone काटेर हेर्नुपर्छ, and it is very difficult. So खासै गरिन्न यो टेस्ट पनि. So but in exam you may be asked. So Rieland's test भनेको के हो भनेर you may be asked. So यहाँसम्म बुझ्यो है. So we talked about some tests where हामीले चाहिँ सबभन्दा कमनली गर्ने टेस्ट भनेको हाइड्रोस्ट्याटिक टेस्ट बाहेक अर्को भनेको ब्रेसलर्स सेकेन्ड लाइफ टेस्ट, रिडेन्स टेस्ट, स्ट्याटिक टेस्ट र ब्लकेज टेस्ट. So now these tests are to know whether the lungs or whether the baby has respired or not. त्यसपछि what we can look at is to confirm the gestational age. So initially in the external examination we took all the measurements and we estimated a gestational age. Now we can confirm that gestational age by looking at ossification center. So there are lots of ossification center in our body, and we can look at these three sites: sternum, foot bones, and knee. I think I've also discussed this in identification. Skeleton anthropology ma discuss gare jasto लाग्यो. So we can look at these three sites. So in sternum we can find 5 ossification center, 1 in the body and 4 in the 1 in the manubrium sterni and 4 in the body, body of the sterni. So if there are 5 ossification center in the sternum, it indicates that the newborn is 7 months old. Sorry, 9 months old. But if there is only 4 ossification center, it indicates that the newborn is 7 months old. Basically 3, if there is only 3, then it indicates 6 months. So how will you examine sternum? So after removing this sternum plate, autopsy we will cut out the ribs side by side and we'll remove the sternum, and we'll cut in the midline. We'll cut in the midline and we'll cut with the help of brain knife, and we'll look at the center. So after cutting, if we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this sternum there are 5 ossification center. So it indicates that this is a term baby, 9 months old infant or newborn. So it's a cartilage hersum. So initially this whole thing is cartilage, and after 5 months slowly it begins to ossify. So this reddish color, reddish rough structure, this is ossification center. right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, we can also look at foot bones, right? And where we look at calcaneum, talus, and cuboid. Right? So ossification center at calcaneum appears at 5 months, talus appears at 7 months, and cuboid appears at 9 months. So if there is ossification center at cuboid, that it indicates that the baby is more than 9 months or around 9 months. Right? So calcaneum भनेको the heel, है heel bone, right? So if we cut at the heel, if we make an incision at the heel, we can feel the cartilage of the calcaneum, right? And if we cut into the calcaneum, we can feel the we may feel the ossification center at the center of the calcaneum bone, right? So calcaneum पछि if we go further deep, right? Calcaneum काटेर अझ माथि हामी यो ankle तिर काट्दै आयौं भने there will be talus, right? And cuboid will be just anterior to calcaneum, calcaneum को अगाडि cuboid bone हुन्छ. Lastly, we can look at knee bone, हैन? So in knee there will be lower end of femur and upper end of tibia, right? So if we cut at the lower end of femur and upper end of tibia, we can see ossification center at 9 months or at term, right? So if we look at all these things, we can confirm that the baby is term or not. So it is good to look at all these things because sometimes in some infant, one or two of these ossification center may be absent. कुनै बेला चाहिँ maybe lower end of upper end of tibia or maybe cuboidहरुमा चाहिँ absent हुन सक्छ, अलिकति ढिलो हुन सक्छ. So यो तीन टाइममा हेर्यो भने it is more confirmatory, right? Right, this is for gestational age. Right? So we'll also examine placenta and cord. So we'll take the weight of the placenta. So term baby ko placenta is around 500 grams, right? And we will look at the completeness. If placenta complete छ कि छैन भनेर examine गर्छौं, right? We can also look at placental infarct, and or sometimes there may be hematoma or clot in the placenta, right? So antepartum hemorrhage हरु भएको छ भने there may be clots in this placenta. Right? So यहाँसम्म बुझ्यो है. So यति भइसकेपछि then we'll look at the cause of death. And so cause of death can be, the infant may die of some natural disease or natural causes, or can die of some unnatural causes. And unnatural भनेको चाहिँ it can be accident or some criminal causes, right? So natural हुन सक्छ, unnatural they can be accidental or some criminal causes, right? So natural भनेको premature baby, and baby who are born before viability or even before term, so this baby can die of prematurity, and there are lots of complications of prematurity, like they can suffer from hypoglycemia, hypothermia, and different metabolic imbalances, or they can die of any anomalies, like one I've already mentioned, tracheoesophageal fistula. So this is a fatal condition if there is a fistula between the trachea and esophagus, and if such infants are fed, they can die of aspiration. Right? Similarly, there can be other anomalies as well. Right? So these are natural causes, or there can be other diseases like pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome, or Hallen membrane disease, which are more common in premature babies. Accidental causes may be precipitated labor. Because of precipitated labor, the baby or the fetus may fall and may hit the ground and can die. There may be cord around the neck, so this can strangle the baby. Okay? And in criminal causes, there may be act of omission and act of commission. Right? Act of commission, I think this was already discussed in your previous classes. Right? So cause of infant deaths, and there can be natural death, which can be prematurity or immaturity, fetal malformations, or birth trauma. Okay? And there can be unnatural death, accidental or criminal. So accidental में there may be precipitated labor. Right? There may be precipitated labor, obstructed labor, unsafe deliveries, malpositioning of fetus, and other different complications. Criminal cases मा चाहिँ अब act of omission भनेको not doing something which is supposed to be done. गर्नुपर्ने कुरा गरेन भने त्यसलाई act of omission भन्छ. We are omitting our duties. So negligence is not taking ordinary precautions to save the child or child by the mother or caretaker. Okay? So it includes failure to protect child from heat or cold, and assistance during labor, and cleaning of air passages or mucus, and cutting of umbilical cord and not tying the umbilical cord, and not feeding the child, and these are all act of omission. Or there can be act of commission, so doing something which is not supposed to be done, or act done with an intention to hurt or kill. So it can be strangulation, suffocation, drowning, burn, trauma, so anything, and any act which can harm the newborn. Okay? And for time of survival, so one I've already mentioned, caput hematoma, cephalhematoma. So cephalhematoma will usually appear after 12 hours. So cephalhematoma छ भने time of survival is more than 12 hours. Similarly, caput succedaneum, it disappears completely in 7 days. So GI system, we can look at meconium. If there is no meconium in the small or large intestine, the period of survival is around 24 to 28 hours. Similarly, in cardiovascular system, foramen ovale, they will close at 2 months. Ductus arteriosus will close in 4 months. And similarly, blood. So if we examine the blood, the fetal blood is initially nucleated, which is called normoblast. And after 24 hours, these normoblasts will slowly begin to disappear or begin to mature into more mature erythrocytes, more mature erythrocyte by losing nucleus. So by looking, if we make a peripheral blood smear of the infant, and if we look at under microscope, and if there is no nucleated red blood cells, it indicates a survival period of more than 24 hours. Whereas if there is nucleated RBCs, the period of survival is less than 24 hours. Okay. So in this, while performing the autopsy of a newborn, the most challenging one to answer is cause of death, okay, and time of survival, because by the time the baby will or the newborn will come for autopsy, the body is in a state of decomposition, right? And mostly we are able to answer gestational age. Gestational age हामीले भन्न सक्छौं, अनि we can collect sample for DNA analysis. Okay? And after decomposition, it is even difficult to tell whether the lungs have respired or not. Stillborn हो कि liveborn हो, or deadborn हो कि liveborn हो पनि छुट्याउन गाह्रो हुन्छ advanced decomposition मा. Okay? So this is it. Right? There is a law regarding, there is no specific law regarding infanticide, but in Muliki in Article 20, right? Muliki Aparat Samhita in Article 12, right? In Section 184, what is there's a thing about this newborn. यसमा चाहिँ के भन्छ भन्दाखेरि, we should not throw, abandon anyone under our protection. So by the guardian, so guardian जसले चाहिँ one who is supposed to take care of newborn children, disabled people, they should not abandon them. And if it is done, they will be imprisoned for 3 years. And if as a result of such abandonment or negligence, if that newborn dies, they can be punished as homicide. Right? So त्यसरी abandon गरेर neglect गरेर newborn हरूलाई छोड्यो भने चाहिँ, if that newborn dies as a result of such abandonment, then such guardians or such parents can be charged with homicide. Right? Homicide गरेर they can be put into jail. तर newborn back अरु कोही छ, अरु childrenहरु छ, disabled elderly people छ भने, if they die, there is imprisonment for only up to 7 years, okay, with 70,000 fine. Okay. So thank you.